There's nothing wrong with self-development and focusing on yourself. In fact, I would say that if you're not focusing on yourself to some degree, then you're probably missing out on a lot of opportunities. However, it's also the case that if you're too focused on yourself and not trying to serve other people, then again, you're going to miss out on certain opportunities, because sometimes the best way to focus on yourself is by serving other people and actually showing compassion and care for them and supporting them. Think about the king archetype. The king archetype provides order and gives blessings to the people, right? And if you're a man out here and you want to be the king of the community or whatever, however you want to be the king of, right? King of your own house even. If you really want to do that, you've got to make sure that you're actually able to embrace people and not be afraid to talk to people. Don't treat everybody like your enemy. A lot of people that are chosen and that are following God are in this loop of seeing everybody as the enemy or trying to persecute you. And it's like, you got to take a chill pill, bro, because if you keep thinking like that, of course you're never going to get to a place of happiness. And a lot of people that will work on themselves, they'll really work hard, you know. They do a lot of great things. And they have a lot of great achievements, but they don't have happiness. And it's like, you know, work on all that you want and do as much as that you want. But if you don't have happiness at the end of the day, if you don't have peace of mind to come home to in your heart, what are you working for exactly? You know, what, like you might just be a masochist. Have you ever thought about that? You might just be a masochist. You might just get pleasure from giving yourself pain. And you know what's crazy is how you've got to learn how to make other people feel good, to make yourself feel good sometimes. And a lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of people are too focused on themselves. They're too egotistical and not egoic in the way that they operate. To have an ego is healthy, but also, if you don't know how to build people up, why would anybody want to be around you? Okay? And you might just be chill. You might not be trying to get anything. You might just be indifferent. And that's another way that you can just, you know, be a chill person around people is a way to make people feel good, because at least it's not negative, right? And some people will want to be more involved with you when they see that you're somebody that is just chill. And it seems to me like a lot of people just don't know how to make others feel good about themselves. A lot of people just don't know how to give compliments without trying to want something in return. You know, there's a meditation technique that I've done in the past and that I've cultivated on my own by building off of some other meditation techniques that I've heard about. And one of these techniques that I've cultivated on my own is to genuinely imagine yourself giving to other people around the world whatever it is that you have to offer, whatever it is that you have to give, and giving to as many people as possible around the world, and then seeing them smile. Do you realize what a gift that is? Do you realize that you have a gift to give to people, that it's not for you, it's for them? And in doing that for them, that's where you find meaning. That's where you find responsibility. That's where you find happiness. Happiness is a byproduct of meaning in your life. It's not the goal. But I will say that if you don't have happiness, man, it's a sad life, man. It's a sad life. I genuinely feel as though I'm going through a big shift in my mindset right now. Currently, it's like I'm starting to see that the war path is a good path, right? It's good to have a warrior spirit and a warrior heart. That's absolutely necessary for this life, because life is war. Make no mistake about it. But you make people feel good. Sometimes it takes somebody that's not always going to be a warrior. You've got to be the king or the queen archetype sometimes. You got to manifest that archetype into your being. And the way to do that is by showing compassion. And that's exactly what Christ did. And that's why Christ is such a unique person and character. If you don't believe in Christ or follow Christ like I do, then at least look at the story. Look at the story of who he was and what he did. If that's not the archetype of the most perfect person that could ever live, then I don't know what would be. I really don't. And you don't have to agree with the religious connotations or anything like that, but my goodness, nobody's ever lived like that. Nobody's ever lived like that before. And that's what makes it so powerful as a story, and a actual something to believe in and have faith in. Is that's what it makes it's so powerful, because it makes you at a loss for words even just thinking about it. It's like there's nothing really to describe. The vocabulary that I have would absolutely fail in trying to articulate the beauty and the transcendence of that story and what it really means. But then we see other like hero archetypes, for example, like the lack of hero-ness in some people, that they literally want to just have attention, and they want to be validated. They don't want to bring something to the table. They don't want to actually give something. They just want to feel like they're being alive around you. They just want to feel seen, you know. It's like, sometimes the hero doesn't need to show off. And you know what's interesting is, as soon as I stopped trying to impress people, that's when I became impressive. And that was really kind of a paradox to me, was because I was no longer trying to please people, because that's what I was actually doing. I was trying to please them. And there's a difference between trying to please people and trying to make people feel good, okay? Obviously, I'm not telling you to go out here and just, give your energy to anybody. Still protect your energy. And be ruthless with it when you have to be. But stop thinking everybody's out to freaking get you, man. Like, holy crap. Some of the people that I've talked to in the past couple years of doing YouTube, for example, and just having the business of Regal change, some people are just so, like, some of it is because of trauma, but others is because they want to be persecuted. I swear, they want to be persecuted. They don't want to have a fulfilling life. They don't want that, because then they wouldn't be able to complain about all the crazy narcissists and all that. And it's like, what makes you think you're so special, bro or sister? What makes you think you're so special? What makes you think that making people feel good and giving whatever it is you have to give to those people makes you weak? Kindness is not weak. Being a people pleaser, being a nice person, yeah, that's weak. Because everybody can go over the top sometimes with that kind of stuff, and you don't need to do that. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm not recommending to do that. Man, when the shade comes in a little bit, it is like 10 degrees different. And the sun has been really nice, you know, it's been really warm, at least for the mountains here. It's like 55, 60 degrees. But man, when the shade comes, whew, it drops down to like 45 pretty quick. There we go, there's the sun again. But anyways, you know, I've just been thinking about this because there was somebody at the gym today who was trying to, you know, get some validation. And I could tell he's been having a hard time just by the energy that he has. And you know, all that I did was I patted him on the shoulder and I said, "Hey man, how you doing?" And he just, you know, he kind of nodded his head and he was just like, I'm doing good, I'm hanging in there. And I could tell that, you know, he's trying to be strong. But, you know, just that like small physical touch, you know, on the shoulder, I could tell, and I pray sometimes as I'm doing this, like in my mind, I'm like, I say to myself, whatever energy needs to be transferred to this person so that they may prosper, Lord, let them feel this. Let them feel this. And I could tell that, you know, just the genuineness of it made him feel like, okay, yeah, he can still keep going. Because that's the thing, right? We need brotherhood. Like, make brotherhood great again, too, man. Like, that's all these guys that are so jealous of each other and that are trying to one-up each other all the time. It's like, I get it, life's a competition. I get that in the business world, you got to be ruthless. But the change that we want to see will start with us. And I'm sick of trying to fight the world. Like, I'm sick of trying to fight everything. I don't know about you guys, but I'm just tired of feeling like I'm always persecuted. Because yes, it's true, as followers of Christ, we're going to be persecuted, but it's no way to live. It's no way to live to constantly be in fear of what other people are going to do. Now, of course, like, things are going to happen. Like, you don't need to be stupid out here. You know, I'm not saying that you need to just go into nirvana and just act like, you know, everything's fine when it's not. I'm not saying that you shouldn't ignore dragons in your house if you have dragons in your house. But what I'm saying is that lighten up. For God's sake, lighten up. Life doesn't need to be so dang hard. And sometimes people complaining about how hard it is just makes it worse. It's like, yeah, life is hard. Life sucks. Welcome to the real world, bro. Like, get over it. And stop trying to say what you would be doing if you were in other people's shoes, because you're not in their shoes, and you're not trying to make yourself into somebody that could be doing that kind of stuff anyway. So stop trying to it's like people that talk about people instead of talking about God or growth or ideas or anything else along those lines, business, they are usually the ones that don't have any of those things. Have you ever noticed that? You ever noticed that? I've noticed that. I've noticed that the people that are most depressing and anxious to be around, because, like, I can feel it in my body. I can feel that, man, I do not feel safe around this person. And it's not because I feel like they're a threat. It's more like their energy is a threat to themselves, and it's very unpleasant to see and to watch and to be around. But, you know, sometimes that's just the way things go, and that's just, you got to deal with it, man. But this is why stoicism is so important. Having a stoic mindset to some degree It's like, let go of what you cannot control, man. Stop trying to control things and trying to manipulate the situation to be the way that you think it ought to be. Why are you doing that, man? It's likely because you don't have something going on in your own life. And I know that because I've been there. But now that I'm here, where I'm at now in my life, I genuinely feel there's this great maturation wave happening in my life right now. And I'm starting to see what it means to have peace even more so than I already did. And it's not like I cannot be ferocious. It's not that I cannot be virile. There's that sun again. Sun going into the shade. But it's not that I can't be ferocious or virile. It's that sometimes life is more about being gracious than it is trying to prove something. Now, I'm not saying that, sometimes that chip on your shoulder is going to get you to where you need to be. But also, chill. Like, it is better to be around people that want to think about ideas and abstract things, but also you don't need to try so hard. And I know that because I've tried so hard in the past. I was a tryhard. And the more I tried hard, the more I pushed myself and other people away. I wasn't able to have proper relationships. I didn't know how to make people feel good. All I knew how to do was to please them. And like I said, there is a difference. If you can be enthusiastic and really rejoice in the other people's successes, that means you're, by definition, secure in yourself. And you're secure with yourself. Many people out here are not secure with themselves. Insecurity is at an all-time high because of social media and all that stuff, and everybody knows that already. Like, it just seems like sometimes we have to remind ourselves of what's actually happening, because this is something I've realized, with making videos. I'm never making a video just because I need to make videos. I'm always making a video because there's something I have to say. There's something I want to say. There's some kind of message I want to relay to the people in my audience that I think would greatly appreciate and gather some understanding from this. I never just talk just to talk. But now I'm realizing that it's almost as if people are so caught up in their own narrative world that they cannot see other people's worlds and their perspectives and what's going on from another person's livelihoods and what their struggles are, what their challenges are. Take some time to get to know the people in your community. Take some time. And you don't have to be their friends or anything like that, but this is the people that you're surrounded by for a reason. And it's better to be supportive of those people and just share love from, maybe sometimes at arm's length, because you don't want to be too close to some of these people, because not everybody's on this narrow path. Absolutely not. Like, not everybody's on this narrow path. But that doesn't mean you need to be a dick. It doesn't mean that you need to walk around with your nose up in the air. It just means that you have greater understanding and you have a greater burden to bear that God has entrusted you with. God has entrusted you with awareness so that you can bear the burden of other people more profoundly and greatly. And it's not because you're meant to bear their burdens, it's that you can make their lives a little less stressful or a little less lonely. Because I'm not alone, really. You know, nobody's ever really alone. I'm always with God, but I look like I'm alone a lot of the time because I don't really talk to too many people. But when I do, it's like what I did with this guy at the gym this morning. Like, hey man, you okay? It's reassurance. It's reassurance that you're not struggling alone. Because as I said, we're never really alone, but we kind of are. I tell everybody, don't trust anybody in this world. Like, I hate to say that, but that's the truth. I don't think that we ought to trust anybody, but I also don't think that the answer is to be a recluse, or the answer is to, now if you want to be, like, that's your prerogative. And I've genuinely thought about, you know, just getting a camper or building a cabin in the woods and just calling it good. I've genuinely thought about it. But you know what? I love people too much. I don't trust them, but I love them a lot. So anyways, guys, I think we'll leave it there. I hope this video was useful and insightful for you all out there. Oh, what a beautiful day. The birds are not as active today as they were yesterday, but still, it's a very nice day. I hope everybody stays blessed out there. If you do want to join the free Telegram channel, you can check that out in the link in the description box below. We also have the paid community available, the Regal Change Academy group that we have. And if you want to set up a one-to-one with me where we can go into more detail about certain things, I have the general one-to-ones that I'm doing right now, and then I also have the godlike mastery initiation that I'm doing. And those are the only kinds of one-to-ones that I'm doing right now. I used to do workshops like narcissistic healing workshop, dream interpretation workshop, etc. But now I'm moving those as classes mainly to the Regal Change Academy that you can check out. But with all that being said, I appreciate everybody tuning in, dropping a like and a comment. Peace be with you. Until next time.